Hello everyone, it's me with another forest video. In this one, I'll be showing you how to get the chainsaw, the modern axe, and the climbing axe in the first day. You have to go for two caves, the chainsaw cave and the modern axe cave. I went for the modern axe cave first because it was closer and also because it's easier, and you can use the modern axe to kill all the cannibals in the second cave, which is a lot harder because there's more cannibals. Now, as soon as you spawn, you'll have to follow the god rays or the sun, because that is where what's known as the fertile zone is, and that's where both the caves you'll want to go to is. For me, I spawned really close to the main cannibal village, which is right next to the first cave, so I was extremely lucky, and that's why this video is so short. You can also do this with other plane spawns. You can do this across the map. It just takes a little bit longer to navigate through the forest. If you want to use one of your old saves to do this, then what I recommend is that if you have the compass or the map, to go southeast, because that is where the main cannibal village is, which I'm just approaching now. There is quite a lot of stuff in the main cannibal village you might want. There's ropes, flares, dynamite, gasoline for the chainsaw, and then there's this cave which has also a lot of stuff in it. It's also got the hairspray, which will be handy later. You'll also want to make sure to pick up some dynamite in this cave or in the village. The map and compass are also right next to the entrance, which is really useful because you can also use it to get to the next cave, although I use river navigation to get there. The suitcases by the entrance, they always have hairspray, which you can use to burn bodies to get the skull and the bones, and that's really important because you can get the bones to make bone armor, which is the second strongest armor in the game, just under creepy armor. This cannibal's the first you'll have to kill. He's pretty easy, he's a skinny one. There's also two more up ahead that you'll have to kill. I suggest using the flame upgrades or the hairspray, or you can block with the axe, but keep in mind it won't negate all the damage. While I'm wailing away at this guy, I'll just talk a bit about other things that might be helpful during your gameplay. The fire upgrade for the axe and the hairspray, once they're on fire, it will not do any additional damage. So if you have a hairspray and you're continuously shooting a cannibal with it, it will not do any more damage if you just tap them with the fire. So that means just tap them and then you don't use up the hairspray. I do believe that it always spawns in this suitcase after a couple days, so you can waste it if you want. I'm gonna wait for these corpses to burn to get the bones and skulls, and it seems like they take a lot longer than usual. It took about 20 seconds for both of them to burn. Now, bone armor, it requires 6 bones and 3 cloth. You can view what crafting recipes are available by hovering over the cog. I believe that is also the case in Xbox and PC. Now, when you're upgrading the modern axe, you'll want to have an even mixture of teeth and glass. This was proven by Farket to be the best upgrade combination because every same upgrade, so for example 4 teeth, then 5 teeth, then 6 teeth, the additional damage kept diminishing. So if you put 20, it would be diminished to the point where glass would be a lot better. Now down here is the cache, and there's some really important things, not just the modern axe that you want to get. So there's an outfit in this suitcase, and they're always patterned. You can find them pretty much in cannibal villages, caves, everywhere. The suitcases have randomized loot. There's dynamite right here, which you will need to pick up at least 1. You can carry up to a maximum of 5. There's a lot of cloth. There's of course the modern axe. There's some story related items if you lot want that. There's pills, sodas, I think there might be rope, and I know that there's also circuit boards if you want to make bombs. There's also some modern areas down here. You'll want to take them because they're quite rare. They only spawn in caves, usually the harder ones with mutants in them. Now pretty much all you want to do is just go back the way you came. This cave does have two entrances, so you might come out the other way. If that happens, just use the map and compass and go north of the main cannibal village, which will already be marked because you've been there. As a side note, this body, and actually all bodies in this game, when you hit them, they drop coins. I don't know why, they just do. You can use the coins for bombs. They also sometimes have wristwatches, which guess what, also are used for bombs. Now, coming out of this cave might be a bit dangerous because sometimes cannibals spawn. Now for me, none did spawn. I think it might be based on how much time you spend in there. So the longer you are in there, the more likely you're going to encounter cannibals. There's some cloths hanging on the racks, there's some gasoline you can pick up, there's also some ropes, some dynamite, some flares. You also want to take some break some of the effigies because they drop skulls, bones, and sometimes cloth and booze. There is also a hut right here which has red paint. Now red paint is kind of weird. It pretty much makes you invisible to the cannibals some of the time. Sometimes they will completely ignore it and attack you. Other times they will bow down and worship you, and others they will just completely ignore you and not do anything. Now it can get washed off by this river, which you also have to cross, so you'll have to find one of the crossings and get over. My red paint washed off because I was stupid and I fell into the river. It is easier to do when you have higher athleticism because you move faster. I think you also jump farther as well because of the speed. But essentially what you want to do is follow this lake, and then you'll come around this cannibal village. Now this is actually my second attempt, and the first one there was two cannibals in there. I was able to sneak around them, so just keep that in mind. You'll want to find these white tents, which is right outside the cave, and this is going to be a harder cave because there's a part where once you pass it you can't get back, and you have to use and find the climbing axe. The climbing axe is a lot further into the cave, but the chainsaw is arguably the hardest part because there's around 4 or 5 cannibals. The climbing axe part has one cannibal and some mutant babies. The chainsaw part also has mutant babies. To get around them, honestly, you can just block with the axe, you can dodge them jumping at you, and you can use hairspray, that works pretty well. You can also use the plain axe with fire upgrades, it honestly doesn't really matter. This part is where the chainsaw is. There's rope, gasoline, and of course the chainsaw. You'll want to pick up the gasoline because that is pretty much the ammo for the chainsaw, and it's quite rare and I believe it's limited, but it does respawn I think in around a week of in-game time. There's some suitcases in the water which you can open, but I would suggest killing the cannibals first because they will honestly surprise you. I died the first time I did this because honestly you just get overwhelmed with all 4 of them, and they keep running away and to you, and you know it's quite hard, but you should be able to do it. There aren't any mutants. Just use the modern axe. You can use the crafted club if you prefer, and you can also use hairspray to deal additional fire damage. Now this part is where you want to be. You want to kill all the babies. I used the modern axe and hairspray. I don't think they give you bones. They might, although I think it would only be 1, so it's not really worth it. This part is where you want to use dynamite and just light it and throw it, and of course run away. You don't want to die, otherwise you'll go back to the modern axe cave. Actually, that reminds me, if you're already playing a game and you haven't died yet and you don't know where to go, you can actually kill yourself and you'll go to the modern axe cave. Now make sure you don't die in water because you will die permanently, and then you have to go back to your old save. So just up ahead is the climbing axe. There is a rope you can go down, but I would not do that. Just go to the right and then you can slide down. That way you don't have to, you know, get off the rope, turn around, and by that time all the babies and the cannibals, as you've just seen, can attack you, and your health will be really low even with bone armor. Mine's already gone down to half. So this is why it's really important to bring meds and, you know, sodas so you can keep your energy up. But yeah, at this point you're pretty much done. Just kill them off, get the climbing axe, and then you can get out the cave. And over here is the climbing axe. It's on the wall. You won't be able to miss it because there's a light flashing on it. There is a crate with cloth and coins. I also found a booze bottle as well. You'll want to pick those up because it's just useful to have, and then make your way out of the cave and you're done. You've got the chainsaw modern axe. The chainsaw is not really a good melee weapon. It's mainly used for wood cutting, obviously. It doesn't really do that much damage, but it's got good knockback, so if you've got a mutant it might be better. That's the end of the video, guys. In the next one I'll be covering how to get the crossbow. Bye everyone.